So a lot of people know me for my social media. I'm Uretsky Aviation on Instagram and Facebook. But I'm also an airline pilot. I've been flying professionally for about 4 or 5 years. Um, and my whole aviation journey started back in 2019 when I was uh, sick of my IT job, realizing I didn't want to sit in front of a desk the rest of my life, and I was just trying to find what that next path is. And then a friend of mine reached out and was like, "Hey, I see you like going to air shows. I see you like airplanes. Why don't you become a pilot?" And that was like a light bulb moment for me. Like, wow, why don't I learn to fly? So as I started learning to fly, I started documenting on Instagram and Facebook, and that was the birth of Uretsky Aviation. It was a path for me to share my piloting journey and just aviation photography, whether it be planes I see on the ramp, cool planes I see, or air shows or museums and stuff like that. And then when we moved to California, I got involved with the museum, and that's how we're here today.
So you got involved with the museum, meaning what? Were you doing just a photography for them? Were you volunteering?
So shortly after we moved, they started this Museum Maverick program where they invited social media influencers to become essentially volunteers or members of the museum. They basically gave me free access whenever I wanted to document airplanes and document cool projects they're working on, including the FedEx 727. And most recently, actually, I can't talk about it, but there's something coming that should be pretty
Heard.
cool.
I heard. Yeah, because you had to remove the 727 for the next aircraft that's coming
Exactly.
in.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
can
That
talk about who gave us the FedEx 727, Anastasia Long, who is,
Mm-hmm.
I've heard, one of your very good friends, Brian.
Yes.
She reached out to us beginning of 2025 and said, "Hey, we have this aircraft and we're looking to tear it down. We'd like to work with you guys," which was awesome of her. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see what the museum has coming in to replace that 727. I mean, that
Yeah. The whole journey was fascinating. The plane was falling into the museum's nonprofit,
mhm.
and they rely on donations to maintain all the aircraft in the air park. The 727 was a special case where it wasn't owned by the museum. It was owned by the Sac City College. So the funding that went to the museum didn't necessarily go towards preserving that aircraft. So when there was that kind of funds mismatch, the aircraft started to fall into disrepair. They used to open the plane up every day for tours, and then they started finding mold and
yeah.
corrosion, so they decided to close that off.
Right.
Um, and then about that time where they were deciding what to do with the plane, this other opportunity came up. Hence, the conversation started. Okay, let's look at how to get rid of the aircraft and how to preserve it. And I think that's when Anastasia reached out to you guys as a way to preserve parts of the aircraft.
Now
Yeah, she
you
did. She did great. She was great overall too.
Mhm.
now you they saved the cockpit off this, right? So we had a
Yes.
cut line on the FedEx plane that we were not allowed to go beyond
Hmm.
because they were going to cut and save and preserve the cockpit. What
Yes.
they do with that cockpit since then?
That was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. Because as a pilot, I'm used to flying airplanes that are whole, right?
Yeah.
And then to see the whole cockpit section cut off an aircraft. I mean, so I know there was a lot of controversy with the museum because museums are supposed to preserve airplanes. And then when this FedEx plane was going away, everyone was like, "What are you doing? You should be keeping the aircraft. This kind of sucks." But the museum's secondary goal is education, and being able to see when PlaneTags came in and cut holes in the skin, you could see what's behind them, parts of an airplane that you would never see normally. And then when they came and cut the cockpit off, just seeing how thin that outer skin is and how
Yeah.
thin the floor is that you're standing on, it
Right.
was so fascinating to witness. And I got a chance to talk to Larry while he was out there, and
Yeah.
he told me
Larry's
so many
and
cool stories of him standing up on the tail of a Qantas A380. Oh, I would love to see that.
yeah. The
So yeah,
boys are in Delaware this week. They're working on a Gulfstream and a Falcon. But yeah, the two brothers, Santiago and Larry, are
mhm,
what we call our A team, and they
Yeah,
literally go around the world working on aircraft. So I'm glad you had an
fascinating.
opportunity to meet them. They're
Hmm.
quite the characters, aren't they?
Yes, very much. But yeah, so they cut the nose off. We trailered it out to a storage facility at the airport, and they're going to work on it and eventually mount it to the side of the building. And hope the
Nice.
plan is for guests to be able to walk into it and sit in the chairs while it's hanging off the side of the building.
Hmm.
Nice.
That's very cool. Um, so that project is still kind of down the road a little bit. I mean, what did the interior of the cockpit look like after all these years? Was it still intact, or
Oh, it's perfect.
is it? Yeah,
Was it?
It was perfect. Yeah, there. I
yeah.
took a 360 photo. It's on my Facebook page in my 360 album,
Mm.
where you can basically it's standing in the center of the flight deck, and you can look around 360 degrees, and it looks pristine in there.